"Come on, Ma," my son said, laughing. "With your cheap pension, you can't afford the stuff we like." Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'd love to hear where you're listening from. Share your city below. Let's begin this journey together. My name is Amanda Parker. I am 68 years old, and I am telling you this because someone has to. Someone has to know what they did. The hospital doors slid open with a gasp. The air outside was cold. Cleveland air. It hit my lungs and I felt the pull, right here, below my ribs. The incision. 11 days. I'd been in that room at St. Vincent's for 11 days, fighting an infection they said nearly took me. Brenda, the nurse, wheeled me out. She had kind eyes, worried eyes. "Your son, he's meeting you, right, Amanda?" I looked at my phone, the one she'd charged for me. No messages, no missed calls. "He must be running late," I lied. The lie tasted like ash. Brenda frowned. She knew. She'd been watching my phone not ring for 11 days. "I'm calling you a cab, honey," she said. She pressed a $10 bill into my hand. "Don't you argue," I argued. She insisted. I cried. The cab ride was mostly a blur. The houses on Denison Avenue looked gray, tired, like me. The driver didn't talk. I was grateful. I held the house key in my hand. My hand was shaking. Was it the cold? Was it the surgery? The cab pulled up. My house, the one Frank and I bought in 1978, paid in full. I handed the driver Brenda's 10 and added one of my own. I walked slow. Each step was a negotiation with the staples in my belly. The key slid into the lock. It was quiet. Too quiet. I pushed the door open. Stale air. And something else. Wine. Expensive wine? Gone sour. I walked into my kitchen, leaning on the counter, and I saw it. It was huge. Stainless steel. Double doors. An ice dispenser. It was a second refrigerator. It stood right next to my refrigerator, the old almond one that came with the house. I touched the cold steel. It wasn't real. It couldn't be. "Ma, that you?" Michael, my son. He walked out of the living room, a bottle of beer in his hand. He wasn't even surprised. He looked annoyed, like I'd interrupted his afternoon. "You're home," he said. He didn't hug me. He didn't ask how I was. Patricia, his wife, followed him. She was holding a black marker and a sheet of white labels. "Oh, good," she said. She didn't look at me. She looked at the new refrigerator. "You're back. Now we can get this organized." She walked right past me. She stuck a label on the freezer door. With the marker, she wrote, "Tiffany's. Do not touch." My head went light. The staples burned. What is this, Michael?" He took a long drink of his beer. "It's a fridge, Ma. What does it look like?" "A second one?" Patricia sighed. That long-suffering sound, like I was the burden. "Amanda," she said. She never called me Ma. "We needed our own space. We buy our own food. You buy yours. This way we don't mix things up." She peeled another label. "Michael's Beer." I leaned against my old almond fridge, the one Frank bought me for our 20th anniversary. "Mix things up?" I whispered. "This is my house." Michael laughed. He laughed. My son, my only child, stood 10 feet from me, fresh out of the hospital, and he laughed. "Come on, Ma," he said. "It's not a big deal. We just have different, standards," Patricia finished. She didn't even blink. "No offense, but with your pension, you can't really afford the stuff we like." She pulled open the door to their refrigerator. It was like a magazine, lights inside, glass shelves. It was packed, wheels of cheese wrapped in paper, steaks, thick-cut bacon, bottles of white wine, things I couldn't even name. "We like nice things, Amanda," Patricia said. She shut the door. "We deserve to live well. We're not going to apologize for that." "We deserve more," Michael added, his voice dull. 35. That's the number that hit me. 35 years I worked at the Ford plant in Brook Park. 35 years breathing in metal and oil, standing on a concrete floor until my feet were just two big aches. I did it for him, for Michael. I sold my mother's wedding ring, the one my father gave her to help pay for his tuition at Case Western, so he could have better. He was supposed to be better. I wanted to scream it. I wanted to tell him about the overtime, about the burns on my arms from the line, about the nights Frank and I ate beans so Michael could have new shoes. But the words wouldn't come. The pain in my side was too sharp. I just nodded. I'm tired, I managed to say. I need to lie down. Yeah, you do look tired, Michael said. He was already looking at his phone. I turned. I didn't walk toward my bedroom, the master bedroom at the end of the hall. I walked to the little room, the back room, the one Frank used as an office. It was barely big enough for the cot they'd put in there. They took my bedroom when they moved in. Just temporary, Ma, Michael had said. It's got the private bath, easier for us with our schedules. That was a year ago. I lay down on the cot. The springs creaked, the walls were thin. I could hear them, the pop of a cork. She finally back in her hole? Patricia. Her voice was sharp like broken glass. Yeah, she's in the back room. Leave her alone. Michael. Good. God, I thought she'd never leave. Now we can have a real drink. Clink. Glasses touching. They were celebrating that I was home and out of their way. I closed my eyes. The room was dark. I wasn't a mother. I wasn't even a person. I was a utility, a landlord they didn't have to pay, an obstacle, a piece of old furniture they were waiting to throw out. I thought about his birth, 42 years ago. He was so small, 7 pounds, 4 ounces. I held him, and I swore to God. I swore I would die for him. I thought about Frank, gone 15 years now. Cancer. It was fast. At the funeral, Michael held my hand. He was 27, a man. Don't you worry, Ma, he whispered. You're not alone. I'll always take care of you. He meant it. I know he meant it then, but that was before her. Patricia. She came along 8 years ago. Ambitious. Cold. I saw it the first time he brought her over for Sunday dinner. She wasn't looking at him. She was looking at the house. She sized up my dining room furniture. She ran a hand over Frank's armchair. She was assessing, taking inventory. She saw what I had, a paid-off house, a widow's pension, a nest egg. She saw me as a bank, and Michael. He just wanted her to be happy. He'd do anything she said. I gave them $10,000 for their wedding. $10,000 from my savings. It's just a loan, Ma, Michael promised. We'll pay you back. It's an investment in our future. I never saw a penny. After the wedding, things changed. The visits got shorter. The calls were always about money. It started small. Ma, the car needs new tires. Just $500. Ma, Patricia cracked a tooth. The insurance won't cover it. It's an emergency. Ma, we're a little short on the rent. Just this once. It was never just once. Every time I hesitated, the guilt would come. Don't you love me? Don't you want your son to be happy? Patricia's under so much stress, Ma. This would really help us out. I always gave in. How do you say no to your only child? 2 years ago, I retired. The pension was $800 a month. Not a lot. But with the house paid for, it was enough. I had my savings. I was careful. Then they lost their jobs. That's what they said, anyway. The company downsized. They showed up at my door with suitcases. Just for a couple of months, Ma. Just until we get back on our feet. That was a year ago. The couple of months turned into a year of this. At first, they helped. They bought some groceries. Then they stopped. Then the utility bills started going up. The water bill tripled. Patricia liked long baths. The electric bill. They left lights on in every room. The cable bill. They added all the movie channels. We've got to be able to relax, Amanda, she'd say. We're stressed, looking for work. But they weren't looking for work. They were shopping. Packages arrived from Amazon, from Nordstrom. They started buying their food. They'd come home with bags from Whole Foods. They'd drink expensive wine while I was heating up my soup. They threw out my old pots. "Teflon causes cancer, Amanda. We can't use this." They bought a new set of stainless steel. With my money. "It's an investment for the house, Ma," Michael said. 3 months ago, before the hospital. That's when I found out. My old water heater was leaking. I went to the bank, Ohio Savings, to pull money from my reserve account, the one Frank and I built, my emergency fund, $8,000. I went to the teller, Mrs. Gable. I've known her for 20 years. I gave her my passbook. She looked at her screen. She looked at me. "Amanda, honey." "What withdrawal?" "I need $2,000 for a water heater." She turned the screen toward me. Account balance $14.32, $14.32. "There must be a mistake," I said. "No, dear. The account was emptied, a transfer, 3 months ago." I sat in the car for an hour. I couldn't breathe. When I got home, they were on the porch, drinking. I confronted him. I held up the passbook. "Where is it, Michael?" Patricia stood up. "Don't you dare accuse him." "But Michael," he couldn't look at me. I had some debts, Ma. Online. Debts. It's fine. I took it to cover things. I was going to pay it back. He'd stolen my bank key. The little key to the file cabinet in the living room. He knew where I kept it. He'd watched me his whole life. He stole my $8,000, my last safety net. "You stole from me," I said. "I borrowed it, Ma," he yelled. "God, you're so dramatic. It's just money." 2 weeks later, the pain started in my stomach. The pain that sent me to the hospital. They never mentioned the $8,000 again. They never visited me. Not once. I lay on that cot in the dark and I knew. The woman who raised that boy, she was gone. She died in that hospital bed. The woman who came home, I don't know who she is yet, but she is not going to be dramatic. She's not going to be quiet, and she is not going to be a victim. I heard the cork pop again. I heard Patricia laugh. They were done with me. They just didn't know I was done with them too. Tekst na Amerikanskim jazyk. The cot spring dug into my hip. I didn't sleep. I don't think I'll ever really sleep again. I just shut down. When my eyes opened, the clock on the wall said 5:02 a.m. The house was black, silent. They were asleep, in my bed, the one I shared with Frank for 40 years. They were in my room under my roof while I was on a cot in a storage closet. The anger came back. It was different from last night. Last night, it was shock. This morning, it was cold. It was hard. I sat up. The staples in my side screamed, a hot, tearing pain. I held my breath. 1, 2, 3. I pushed myself up, using the wall for support. I stood in the dark, listening to the hum of 2 refrigerators. The old Amanda would have stayed put. She would have cried. She would have waited until they woke up, just to avoid a confrontation. The old Amanda died at St. Vincent's. I walked out of the small room. My feet were bare on the cold hardwood floor. The hallway was dark. I passed my bedroom. My bedroom. The door was closed. I heard a noise. A low, rumbling snore. Michael. I went to the kitchen. I didn't turn on the overhead light. The glow from the street lamp outside was enough. I stood there. My kitchen. Their kitchen. I opened my refrigerator, the old almond one. The light inside flickered. 1 small carton of milk, almost empty. 3 eggs in the little plastic holder. A half loaf of stale rye bread, a jar of mustard. That was it. That's what I had to my name. I closed the door. The rubber seal sighed. I looked at the steel monster next to it. I touched the handle. It was cold. I opened it. The light inside was bright, white, LED. It was like a grocery store. A full drawer of steaks, red meat wrapped in plastic from the butcher, a piece of salmon, pink and thick, packages of shrimp, jars of olives, things in brine I didn't recognize. Cheeses. So many cheeses. Yellow, white, some with blue veins, a 6-pack of craft beer for Michael, and on the door, at least 5 bottles of wine. I squinted at a label, Oyster Bay. I saw the price tag still on the neck, $24.99. I saw another bottle. It looked French. The tag was partially torn, but I could see a 5 and a 0, $50. $50 for 1 bottle of wine. They were spending $50 on wine while I was counting eggs. They were feasting in my house, on my dime. While I was in the hospital, fighting an infection, they were stalking their monument to greed. I closed the door. I had to get them out. But how? My mind flashed back. 6 months ago, Michael at the kitchen table, all smiles. "Ma, we need to get your papers in order," he'd said. "My papers? What's wrong with my papers?" "Just your will, Ma. Make sure it's updated. You know, so Patricia and I are protected. So the house goes to me, clean and simple. No probate court." It made sense. He was my only son. He brought the papers. A man in a suit was with him, a notary. "It's just standard stuff, Ma. This just gives me power of attorney, so I can pay your bills if you get sick. This one updates the will." He pointed. I signed. I trusted him. I signed. I signed. What did I sign? A chill, colder than the refrigerator handle, went right through me. Did I sign away my house? Did I sign away my life? A crash from upstairs. I froze. "Where the hell is my blue shampoo?" Patricia's voice. "How should I know?" Michael yelled back. "You used it. I can smell it. That stuff costs $60 a bottle. So what? You bought it with her money anyway." A door slammed. They were awake, arguing about shampoo. They hadn't even checked on me. They hadn't opened my door to see if I was alive or dead on the cot. I just stood in the kitchen, a ghost in my own home. They came downstairs about an hour later, showered, dressed. Patricia was in a new-looking jogging suit, silk. It looked expensive. Michael had on a polo shirt with a little alligator on it. They didn't speak to me. He went to the new refrigerator. He took out the bacon and a carton of fresh eggs. She went to the high-end coffee maker they'd bought. They moved around me like I was a chair. "We're going to the city today," Patricia announced to Michael. "I have a return to make." "Fine," he grumbled. They ate. They filled my sink with their dirty dishes. They walked past me. "We'll be back late, Ma. Don't wait up," Michael said, not looking at me. He was talking to me like I was the child. The front door slammed. The house was quiet again. I looked at their dirty plates. I took the plates. I took the pan with the bacon grease, and I threw them, one by one, into the trash can. I was washing my hands when I saw her, Martha, my neighbor, 71, a widow like me, lived in the house next door for 40 years. She was in her garden, watering her azaleas. She looked peaceful. Frank and I used to have barbecues with her and her husband, Jim, before Jim passed, before Frank passed. She was a good woman. She looked up, saw me through the kitchen window. She waved. I waved back. She put down her watering can. She started walking toward my front door. My heart pounded. I hadn't told anyone, not about the money, not about the bedroom. I was too ashamed. The doorbell rang. I opened it. "Amanda," she said. Her face was a map of wrinkles and worry. "I saw the cab yesterday. I saw you come home." "Hi, Martha. How are you, child?" "Really?" I didn't have an answer. I just stepped back and let her in. She walked into the living room. Then she saw the kitchen. She stopped dead. She looked at my old almond fridge. She looked at the new steel monster. "In the name of the Lord," she whispered. "What is that?" They said they have standards," I whispered. The words were so ugly. Martha looked at me, her eyes filled with a sadness that matched mine. "Oh, honey, come here." She pulled me to the sofa. She sat me down. She held my hand, my cold, bony hand. "I've been so worried," she said. It's been hard, Martha." "Hard?" "Amanda, I live next door. These walls are paper. I hear things." I stiffened. What do you hear?" "I hear how she talks to you, like you're dirt. I hear him, not defending you. I've seen the packages, the wine bottles and the recycling. I didn't know what to do, I choked. I know, honey, I know, but yesterday was different. You heard? I heard the whole thing, she said, her voice grim. I was in my garden. My window was open. I heard them yelling about your food, about your cheap pension. I wanted to come over here and hit them with my shovel. I almost smiled. But that's not all, Amanda. The air in the room changed. What? I stayed up. I was worried about you. I saw you go into the back room and I heard them after you were in bed. She took my hand in both of hers. They were in the kitchen. They opened a bottle of wine. They were celebrating. Celebrating? Patricia. She was laughing. She said, Martha closed her eyes. Tell me. She said, the old woman doesn't have much time left, especially after that surgery. When she dies, this house is ours. We'll sell it so fast and get out of this dump. We'll finally live. My heart, it just stopped. It stopped beating. I couldn't breathe. No, I whispered. No. Yes, Martha said, her eyes flashing with anger. And that's not the worst part. The worst part? Your son, Amanda. Your Michael. He laughed. He raised his glass. She took a deep breath, and he said, I hope she hurries up. I am so tired of pretending to care. The world went white. I hope she hurries up. My son, my child, waiting for me to die, wishing for me to die. So he could sell my home. The humiliation of the refrigerator was nothing. That was just cruelty. This was evil. This was a betrayal so deep it had no bottom. Amanda, honey, breathe. Martha was shaking my shoulder. I hadn't realized I'd stopped breathing. I took a ragged gasp of air. The illusion was gone. The last little ember of hope that maybe Michael was just weak, maybe he was just scared of Patricia. It was extinguished. He was in on it. He was a partner. They're not just cruel, Amanda, Martha said, her voice low and hard. They're dangerous. She stood up and started pacing. There's more, she said. I'm telling you everything. I just nodded. I was numb. I've seen Michael at the bank, not your branch, the one downtown. He's always carrying a briefcase, sneaking around. And her, Patricia, the UPS truck is here every single day. Boxes. So many boxes, designer names. I can see them from my window. Where are they getting the money? I asked. The $8,000 was gone. My pension was $800 a month. It didn't add up. They're getting it from you, child, Martha said. One way or another. She stopped pacing. She looked me right in the eye. You can't do this alone. You can't just ask them to leave. They won't go. They're in too deep. You need help. Real help. The police? Not yet. Not until you know what you're dealing with. You need a lawyer. I laughed, a dry, broken sound. A lawyer? Martha? I have 3 eggs and stale bread. Michael took my savings. What am I going to pay a lawyer with? You're not going to pay a cent. She sat back down. My friend, Arthur Jennings. You remember him? He used to play cards with Jim. I nodded. A tall, quiet man. Always wore a nice suit. He's a retired lawyer, Martha said. But he's not retired. He specializes in this. Elder abuse, financial exploitation. She smiled a small, grim smile. And he does it pro bono, for free. Why? Because, Martha said, her voice soft, his own brother did the same thing to their mother. Cleaned her out. Put her in a state home. Arthur, he never forgave himself for not seeing it sooner. He made a vow. He helps people like you, in his mother's name. For the first time in a year, I felt something. Not hope. Not yet, but a spark. Will you see him, Amanda? Today? Right now? I looked at the steel refrigerator. I thought of Michael's laugh. I hope she hurries up. Yes, I said. Make the call. Arthur Jennings was at my house in an hour. He He was just as I remembered. Tall, sharp, kind eyes. He wore a simple tweed jacket, but he moved with an authority I hadn't seen in years. He sat at my kitchen table. Martha made us coffee. He didn't rush me. He just listened. I told him everything. I told him about the 35 years at Ford, the ring I sold, the $10,000 wedding loan, the $8,000 theft, the temporary move-in, the humiliation of the refrigerator, and then I told him what Martha heard. I hope she hurries up. His face did not change. He just nodded slowly. "Mrs. Parker," he said. His voice was deep and calm. "I am so very sorry, but I want you to know you are not alone. And this is textbook. A classic, brutal case of financial and emotional elder abuse." He turned to Martha. "Thank you for being a good neighbor." He turned back to me. "Now, you mentioned he had you sign some papers. Power of attorney. Updating the will." "Yes, 6 months ago. He brought a notary." "That," Arthur said, "is our first problem. We don't know what you signed. They are in your house. They are spending money you don't have. Martha is right. They are dangerous. They are not just waiting for you to die, Mrs. Parker. They are actively trying to steal everything you have before you die." My blood ran cold. "What do we do?" "We find out," he said. "We find the papers. We find the bank statements. We find the credit card bills. They are arrogant. They are messy. They believe you are weak and stupid." He smiled. "You are not. You are a survivor." He looked around the kitchen. "They're gone for the day?" "Yes, to the city." "Good," Arthur said. He stood up. "Where do they sleep, Mrs. Parker?" In my bedroom." "Then that," he said, "is where we start." I stood outside the door, my own bedroom door. My hand was shaking. "This is your house, Amanda," Arthur said gently from behind me. "You have every legal right to enter." Martha stood beside him, a soldier. I turned the knob. It wasn't locked. Of course not. Why would they lock it? I was just the help. I pushed the door open. The smell hit me first. Perfume. Patricia's perfume. Expensive, heavy. And it was a disaster. My room, my sanctuary. Clothes were everywhere, piled on Frank's armchair, thrown on the floor, shopping bags, dozens of them, Nordstrom, Saks Fifth Avenue, Gucci. I saw a shoebox. The name on the side was red, Christian Louboutin. "My God," Martha whispered. "Don't touch anything," Arthur said. "Just look." I walked in, on my dresser. My dresser. Patricia's makeup was spread out like a store display. Hundreds of bottles and tubes, and boxes, jewelry boxes, little blue ones. I opened one, a new bracelet. The room was filled with things with price tags still on them. A new TV, a 50-inch flat screen was bolted to my wall. "Where is their paperwork?" Arthur asked. I pointed to my old writing desk, the one Frank built. It was piled high with mail. Arthur put on a pair of thin latex gloves from his briefcase. "May I?" "Please." He began to sort, calmly, methodically. Martha and I just stood there. "Ah," he said. He held up a wee piece of paper. A receipt. From a restaurant downtown, the Marble Room. I looked at the total. $412. For one dinner. "When was this?" I asked. "This," Arthur said, "was 3 nights ago, while you were in St. Vincent's." They were eating steak and lobster while I was on an IV drip. He kept sorting. Check stubs. From a casino in Windsor. Michael had lost $500. And then the bank statements. Arthur laid them out on the bed. "These are Patricia's," he said. 1, 2, 3. 3 different credit cards. Visa, MasterCard, American Express. "Look at the balances," he said. I looked. Card 1, $8,500. Card 2, $14,200. Card 3, $10,300. "That's $33,000, I whispered. "How? They don't have jobs." "Exactly," Arthur said. He kept digging, and then he found it. He stopped. He held it up to the light. "Oh no," he said. "What?" "Mrs. Parker, Amanda, this is a credit card statement. From a new card, Capital One." "I don't have a Capital One card." "Yes, you do," he said, his voice terrible and quiet. "It's in your name." He handed it to me. Amanda Parker. My name, my address. Credit limit $10,000. Balance due $9,950. It was maxed out. I never opened this." "No," Arthur said. "You didn't. But you signed a power of attorney, or he forged your signature. This is identity theft. This is a felony." I thought I was going to be sick. He dug back into the pile. "And this, I believe," he said, "is the grand prize." He pulled out a thick envelope from a mortgage company. He opened it. He read it. His face hardened. "What is it, Arthur?" Martha asked. He handed the paper to me. It was a loan application, a home equity line of credit, amount $50,000, secured against my address, my home. Applicant: Michael Parker, acting as power of attorney for Amanda Parker. My signature was on the bottom, a perfect, clean forgery. I looked at the last line. Status: pending approval. They weren't just waiting for me to die. They were trying to steal my house. Right now. "They're not just greedy," I said. The room was spinning. "They're monsters." "Yes," Arthur said, pulling out his phone. "They are. And now, we have them." Text na Amerykańskim jazyku. Arthur looked at the loan application. His calm finally broke. Not in a shout. Something worse. A low, quiet rage that filled the room. "This is not just theft, Amanda. This is attempted destruction." He placed the document on the bed, smoothing it with his gloved hand. "They've stolen, by my quick count, at least $42,000. That's before the $10,000 credit card. They were about to steal $50,000 more and put a lien on your paid-off home." "What do I do?" My voice was flat. I was past tears. I was something else. I was cold. "We have options," Arthur said. He was all business now. He ticked them off on his fingers. 1, a family meeting. He held up a hand. Useless. They will lie. They will gaslight you. They will cry. We are past that. 2, a civil lawsuit. We sue them for the money. It's long. It's expensive. And they don't have the money to pay you back. It's in those Gucci bags and on their credit card statements. 3, he said, and he paused. We go to the police. Right now. We file a report. Identity theft, fraud, forgery, financial elder abuse. They will be arrested. They will likely go to jail. Jail? My son. Michael. My mind just stopped. The room tilted. Jail. But first, Arthur cut through my thoughts, his voice sharp. Before any of that, we stop the bleeding. He pointed at the loan application. Pending approval. That is our only priority this morning. We must block this immediately, tomorrow morning, first thing. How? You, me, and Martha. We are going to your bank, Ohio Savings. We are going to talk to the manager, and we are going to freeze everything. The next morning, I hadn't slept. I just sat in the kitchen chair. They came down at 9. You're up early, Ma, Michael said. He sounded cheerful. He poured himself a cup of their expensive coffee. I have a follow-up appointment, I lied. The lies were getting easier. At the hospital, a checkup on the incision. Oh, right, Patricia said, checking her phone. Well, don't expect us to wait. We have errands, returns to make. I wouldn't dream of it, I said. Martha picked me up at 9:30. Arthur met us at the branch. We sat in the manager's office, Mr. Harrison, a man I'd seen for years who always asked about Frank's old car. Amanda, good to see you. How are you feeling? Mr. Harrison, Arthur said, taking the lead, I am Mrs. Parker's legal counsel. We are here on an urgent matter of fraud. Harrison's smile vanished. I told the story. Arthur laid out the papers, the $8,000 transfer, the $10,000 fraudulent card, the The $50,000 home equity loan application. Mr. Harrison turned white. He typed. His fingers flew on the keyboard. He looked at the screen. He looked at me. Amanda, my God, the transfer 3 months ago, the $8,000, it was done online. I don't use online banking, I said. I know. He used the power of attorney you signed 6 months ago to gain access to all your accounts. He made himself a co-signer. He kept typing. His face got darker. The numbers. Amanda, it wasn't just the $8,000. He's been siphoning. Small amounts. 200 here, 300 there, every week for 6 months. Right after the POA was signed. He pointed to the screen. Total transfers from your checking and savings to his account. $42,000. 42,000. Not 8. What do we do? I whispered. First, Harrison said, his voice steel, we revoke the power of attorney. Right now, we are locking him out of your accounts. Effective immediately. He typed. He clicked. Done. Second, we are filing a fraud affidavit for that Capital One card. You are not responsible for that debt. We are freezing that account and starting an investigation. Third, Arthur said, the home equity loan. It's at a different bank, but I'll handle that, Harrison said, picking up his phone. I'll call their risk department manager right now. I'll send them the forgery evidence and the revoked POA. That loan is dead. It will be declined by noon. He looked at me, his eyes full of pity and anger. Amanda, the bank will cooperate fully. We will press charges on your behalf for the fraud. I looked at Arthur. Not yet, Arthur said. First, Mrs. Parker needs to secure her home. Mr. Harrison printed every statement, every transfer. He highlighted them. He put them in a thick folder. I walked out of that bank holding the evidence. They'll be home soon, I said. Are you ready for this, Amanda? Arthur asked. I thought of the 11 days in the hospital. I thought of the steel refrigerator. I hope she hurries up. Yes, I said. Tonight. We sat in my living room, me, Martha, and Arthur. We waited. At 6 p.m., the front door opened. Laughter. Michael and Patricia walked in. Their arms were full of new bags. God, that place was packed, Patricia said. Then they saw us. They froze. Michael's eyes darted from me to Martha to the man in the suit. Patricia dropped her bags. Who the hell is this? She snapped. This, I said, my voice shaking but clear, is Arthur Jennings. He's my lawyer. The color drained from Michael's face. Patricia recovered first. She laughed. A lawyer? What, are you going to sue us for eating your food, Amanda? Don't be pathetic. Sit down, Arthur said. It wasn't a request. They didn't move. Michael, I said. I stood up. I know everything. Know everything about what, Ma? You're not making sense. He was trying to sound confused. He just sounded scared. I know about the $42,000 you transferred from my accounts. I know about the $10,000 credit card you opened in my name. And I know about the $50,000 loan you tried to take out on my house. Michael looked like he was going to throw up. Patricia rushed in. She's senile. Arthur, or whatever your name is, she's confused. She gave us that money. She asked Michael to help with her finances. She's old. She forgets. Did she ask you to max out a card in her name? Arthur asked quietly, holding up the statement. Did she ask you to forge her signature on a loan application? He asked, holding up the other paper. That's a lie, Patricia screamed. She signed that herself. She's just forgetting. That's a lie. It wasn't me who said it. It was Martha. She stood up, shaking with anger. I heard you. The night she came home from the hospital. I heard you through the window. Patricia laughed. You heard what, you crazy old bat? I heard you. I heard you celebrating. I heard you say, when she dies, this house is ours. And I heard him. She pointed a finger at Michael. I heard him say, I hope she hurries up. I'm tired of pretending to care. Michael flinched. He finally broke. Martha, you didn't hear that right, he stammered. It was taken out of context. The room was silent. I looked at my son. My blood. Out of context? I asked. Tell me, Michael, what is the context for waiting for your mother to die? He had no answer. Patricia saw she was losing. She switched tactics. She collapsed onto my sofa. The tears started. Big theatrical sobs. We did. Hick. Everything for her, she wailed, clutching a designer handbag. We sacrificed. We moved into this awful house to take care of her, and this is the thanks we get. You sacrificed? I said. You sacrificed my savings. You sacrificed my bedroom. You sacrificed my trust. If it was so awful, Martha added, why were you still here? Arthur had seen enough. He stepped forward. The performance is over, Mrs. Parker. He looked at Michael and Patricia. You have two options, he said. His voice was cold. Option 1, you pack your bags tonight. You will be out of this house in 2 hours. You will sign a full confession and a debt repayment agreement for the $42,000. You will never contact Amanda again. If you do this, we will not file a police report. Patricia's crying stopped. She stared at him. Option 2, Arthur continued. I call the police right now. I have the bank manager on standby. I have the fraud reports. You will both be arrested for felony fraud, identity theft, and elder abuse. Given the evidence, you will be convicted. You will face, I'd estimate, 5 to 15 years in prison. Silence. Michael finally spoke. He turned to me. His eyes were wide. Ma, he pleaded. Ma, please, don't do this. We're family. You can't send me to prison. Don't destroy the family. The family? The family? I asked. What family, Michael? A family doesn't steal $42,000 from their mother. A family doesn't leave their mother alone in the hospital for 11 days. A family does not wish for their mother to hurry up and die. He had nothing to say. In any case, Arthur said, checking his watch, you are leaving. Right now. You have 2 hours. 2 hours, I said. Get your things. The next 2 hours were hell. Slamming, shouting, things breaking upstairs. Patricia was screaming at Michael. You ruined this. You weak, stupid. I just sat at the kitchen table. Martha and Arthur sat with me. They came downstairs, dragging suitcases. Patricia marched into the kitchen. She went to her refrigerator. She opened it and started pulling out the steaks, the wine. What are you doing? I asked. It's our food, she hissed. We paid for it. No, I said. You bought it with my money. You bought it with my pension and my stolen savings. You're not taking another thing from this house. You can't do this. Get out, I said. She looked like she wanted to hit me. Patricia, let's go, Michael mumbled. He was broken. They dragged their suitcases to the front door. Michael stopped. He looked back at me. You're going to regret this, Ma, he whispered. You'll be all alone, in this empty house, all alone. I stood up. I walked to the door. I'd rather be alone, Michael, than be with thieves. I shut the door behind them. I locked the deadbolt. I turned. I leaned my back against the door, and for the first time in 11 days, I cried. I sank to the floor, and I wept. Martha was there. She put her arms around me. It's over, Amanda, she said. It's over. They were tears of release. The next day, Michael called. He was sobbing. She's gone, Ma. Patricia. As soon as Arthur sent the papers, she took the car and left. She left me. I'm sorry to hear that, Michael, I said. And I was, but I wasn't surprised. I'll sign, Ma. I'll sign the papers. Option 1. Please. Just don't call the police. Arthur will send them over, I said. He signed. He agreed to repay the $42,000. The first payment was $300, due in 30 days. 3 months passed. The house was quiet. I moved back into my bedroom. I threw out the mattress. I bought a new one. The check came from Michael, every month, $300. No note, just a money order. I heard from Arthur that the bank was, in fact, looking for Patricia. She'd tried to use the fraudulent card one last time. The steel refrigerator. It sat in my kitchen like a tomb. One day I put an ad on Craigslist. For sale. A young couple bought it. They were thrilled. I took the money. I went to the garden center. I bought roses, azaleas, like Martha's. I planted them in the front yard. Martha and I sat on the porch. We drank iced tea. We were family. Arthur came by. He helped me draft a new will, a real one, an ironclad one. My house was protected. My small pension was my own. One afternoon, the doorbell rang. A young woman was standing there. She looked nervous. She was holding the hand of a small boy, maybe 3 years old. "Mrs. Parker?" she asked. "Yes?" "My name is Sarah. I'm Michael's friend, his girlfriend." I stiffened. "He told me," she rushed to say. "He told me everything, what he did, the money, the house, all of it." He's in therapy, Mrs. Parker. He's working 2 jobs, one at a warehouse, one at night. He's paying his debts. He's trying. He's really trying." I didn't know what to say. The little boy who was hiding behind her legs peeked out. He looked at me with Michael's eyes. He smiled. "Hi, are you my grandma?" My grandson. I felt something, a shift. A few days later, I got a letter from Michael. It wasn't a letter asking for forgiveness. He said he didn't deserve that. It was just a letter about his work, about his therapy, about how he was trying to understand why he let Patricia control him, why he let greed consume him. It was the first honest thing I'd read from him in a decade. I thought for a long time. I took out my phone. I sent him a text. "I'm not ready to see you, Michael." I typed, erased. I typed again. "But I would like to meet my grandson when we are both ready to talk, honestly." I put the phone down. I went to my front porch. The roses were starting to bloom. The house was mine. My dignity was mine. It was quiet. And for the first time, it wasn't an empty quiet. It was peace. I'm grateful you spent this time with me. If you've lived through something similar, or if my story spoke to you in any way, please share your feelings in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Your stories matter too. If you want more, don't forget to like and subscribe. Be gentle with yourself, and I'll see you in the next story.